Today we're going to be talking about how to sharpen a graphite pencil. The reason I'm making this its own video and not including it in next week's video is simply because of how important it is to do this step, and I wanted to be able to take the time to explain it rather than trying to cram it into another video and have it be not very informative. But it really is important to next week's video, which is going to be how to render with graphite on white paper, in order to get those clear, defined, high resolution results with the graphite pencil in our drawings. We need our pencil to be sharp, and I'm talking sharp. And if we try to do that with this kind of a pencil, we're just not going to get the same results. So I thought I would make this its own video so that you guys can see how I sharpen my pencils and be able to refer back to it if you ever need it. Now, full disclosure, some of you might be able to find the graphite lead holders out there that give you the same effect as being able to use the long lead, but without having to go through this whittling sharpening process that I'm going to show you. Those are fine, and honestly there is nothing wrong with using them if you don't want to deal with the sharpening process. I understand fully, as someone who's very clumsy, that maybe sharp objects and sharpening another sharp object isn't exactly what you want to be doing. But this is my personal preference, to take the time to sharpen my pencils that are the wooden graphite ones, because I find the lead that comes with those graphite holders and the lead extenders, I'll link all that below in the description so you know what I'm talking about. I find the leads more waxy, and therefore I don't enjoy using them as much. That's just my preference. There's people that use them all the time with great success, so it's not that you can't get great results with those. This is just what I prefer. So for this, all you'll need is your pencil and a razor blade. You can use an X-Acto knife if that makes you more comfortable, but personally I find I have more control with the razor blade. And what you're going to do is just start whittling down the wood of the pencil slowly to just start getting at those outer layers of the wood and working your way closer to the graphite core. Right here, I put too much pressure on the blade and got too close to the graphite, so I risked snapping it. So you just want to remove that wood shaving and keep going and trying to whittle down more gradually so that the risk of snapping the graphite lead is lower. What you'll notice is that my left thumb is really the one using pressure against the dull end of the razor blade to just shave off the wood, while my right hand is merely holding and stabilizing the razor blade, but it isn't doing any of the real work. So I'm just going to keep going until I have at least an inch or a little more of exposed graphite lead. And the more graphite you expose, the more you'll be able to sharpen your pencil to a nice long point. And the longer the point you get, the better. But I tend to play it a bit cautious since I'm fairly clumsy, and the longer the lead, the more fragile it gets, especially if you drop your pencils a lot like I do. Now all you'll need is one of these sharpening pads. Any semi-rough sandpaper will do. 220 sandpaper is pretty good for sharpening pencils, but I like these little pads you get at art stores because they're just more convenient. And from here you're going to sharpen your pencil at an almost flat angle. You don't want to hold your pencil at an extreme angle to the sandpaper because it will make it easier to break, or it'll just create a short nubby point that doesn't stay sharp for very long. I'm constantly rotating my pencil around while I sand it back and forth, and I'm trying not to put too much pressure on it. Again, my right hand is really just there to hold the pencil lightly and guide it rather than use force. The purpose of sharpening a pencil this way is to give you the most control while rendering, and it will also stay sharper for a longer amount of time, meaning fewer times that you'll have to stop while you're drawing to sharpen your pencil. I usually don't worry about having a super sharp pencil for blocking in. I'll use a more dull pencil, especially in the early block-in stages, but when you get to rendering, it really is important to stay on top of pencil sharpening because it shows in the final product. I hope you all enjoyed that video. I hope it was helpful. I hope nobody injures themselves as a result of this. Don't attempt this unless you're comfortable with it and, are an adult. And I hope to see you guys for my next video, which will be on rendering an eye in graphite.